How to Grow Crystals by Honey Anderson. Contents: Introduction, Crystals and Non-Crystals, Experiment 1, Classifying Crystals and Non-Crystals, Making Your Own Crystals, Experiment 2, Making alum crystals, Experiment 3, Making washing soda crystals, Compare the results. Experiment 4, Making seed crystals. Experiment 5, Growing large crystals from seed crystals. Making cardboard models of crystals. How to make a cube. How to make a triangular prism. Glossary. Where to buy materials. Introduction. Some materials are called crystals. Crystals can be different sizes and shapes, but most have flat faces or surfaces and straight edges. In this book, you will find several experiments for making crystals. Warning: be careful with handling the materials. Do not eat any of the materials or drink the solutions. Do not touch your eyes or mouth during the experiments. Wash your hands as soon as you have finished such experiment. Be careful when using hot water. Be sure to have an adult help you. Crystal and non-crystals. Experiment 1. Classifying crystals and non-crystals. You will need equipment: 1 magnifying glass, a pencil, a piece of paper. Materials: 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sand, 1 teaspoon of tea leaves. Method: on your paper, draw 2 columns with the headings crystals and non-crystals. Sort the materials into what you think are crystals and what you think are non-crystals. Write the names under the headings. Now use the magnifying glass to check each material in turn to see whether or not the particles look like crystals. Check your list. Were you right? Making your own crystals. In the following experiments, you are not told exact amount of each material to use. This is because the amount that will dissolve will vary depending on how hot the water is and how quickly you stir it. Always use water that is very hot but not boiling. Add the material that is to be dissolved 1 teaspoon at a time and stir it until it has completely dissolved before you add the next one. Keep a record of how many spoonfuls you use. Experiment 2. Making alum crystals. You will need equipment: 1 jam jar, 1 metal teaspoon, 1 pencil, 1 paper clip, 1 piece of thread. Materials: alum, 3½ ounces of hot water. Method: tie one end of the thread to a paper clip and tie the other end to a pencil. Pour hot water into jar. Stir alum into the water a teaspoon at a time until no more alum will dissolve in the water. Balance the pencil over the jar so that the paper clip hangs down inside the jar and is in the solution. Put the jar where it will not be disturbed and check it every day. Very soon crystals will form on the paper clip at the bottom of the jar. Experiment 3. Making washing soda crystals. You will need equipment: 1 jam jar, 1 metal teaspoon, 1 pencil, 1 paper clip, 1 piece of thread. Materials: washing soda, 3½ ounces of hot water. Method: tie one end of the thread to the paper clip and tie the other end to the pencil. Put hot water into jar, then stir in the washing soda a little at a time until no more will dissolve. Balance the pencil over the jar so that the paper clip hangs down inside the jar and is in the solution. Put the jar where it will not be disturbed and check it every day. Watch the crystals form. Comparing the results. Compare the size of the washing soda crystal to the size of an alum crystal. Which crystal do you think would be bigger? Were you right? Were there more crystals on the thread or on the side of the jar? Now try the same experiment using salt or sugar. Try to guess how big the crystals will be and how long they will take to form. Draw up a chart like this. Crystals: alum, sugar, salt, washing soda. Size of crystals, how long they took to grow. Compare the results of your experiment. Alum crystal, washing soda crystal. Experiment 4. Making seed crystals. You can grow bigger crystals than the ones you have already made by first making seed crystals. You will need equipment: 1 saucer, 1 jam jar, 1 metal teaspoon. Materials: alum, 2 ounces of hot water. Method: measure the water into the jar and stir the alum into it, little by little, until the alum no longer dissolves. Tip half the liquid into the saucer and put it where it will not be disturbed for 1 to 2 days. The liquid in the saucer will crystallize. Choose 4 or 5 of the largest, best-shaped crystals to be used as seed crystals. Experiment 5. Growing large crystals from a seed crystal. You will need equipment: 1 cup of hot water, 1 jam jar with lid, 1 piece of thread, 1 pencil, 1 metal tablespoon, 1 coffee filter paper. Materials: 1 seed crystal, 4 tablespoons of alum. Put the water into the jar and stir the alum into it. Cap the jar and let it stand for 24 hours, shaking it every now and then until as much as the alum as possible has dissolved. Pour the alum solution through the filter paper to remove the extra grains. Then return the solution to the jar. Tie one end of the thread around the seed crystal. Tie the other end of the thread around a pencil. Balance the pencil so that the seed is inside the solution. Put the jar in a cool place where it will not be disturbed. Watch the crystals grow. Comparing the results. Measure the time it takes for a large crystal to grow and compare it with the time it took to grow smaller crystals. Making cardboard models of crystals. How to make a cube. You will need 1 pencil, 1 ruler, 1 sheet of thin cardboard, tape, and scissors. What to do? Draw a rectangle that is 8 inches long and 2 inches wide. 2. Draw lines across the rectangle every 2 inches so that it is marked into 4 equal squares. 3. Draw a 2-inch square at the bottom and the top of the second square of the rectangle. 4. Cut around the edges of the pattern. Make a crease along each of the inside lines. Fold along the inside lines. Use tape to join the edges together. How to make a triangular prism. You will need 1 pencil, 1 ruler, 1 sheet of thin cardboard, tape, and scissors. What to do? Draw a triangle that is 6 inches on each side. Mark into 4 smaller equal-sized triangles as the picture shows. Cut around the edge of the big triangle. Make a crease along each of the inside lines. Fold along the inside lines. Use tape to join the edges together. Can you find some crystals that are the same shape as these models? Glossary. Crystallize. To form crystals when a solution has crystallized, it is no longer a liquid, it is a solid. Cube. A solid square shape. A cube has 6 faces and each face is a square. Dissolve. Combine with water. A solid dissolves when it is put in water and combines with the water to become a liquid. Particle. The smallest piece. For example, a grain of sand is a particle. Seed crystal. A small crystal used to make a larger one. Solution. Water that has some sort of solid matter dissolved into it. Triangular prism. A solid triangle shape that has 4 faces and each is a triangle. Where to buy materials. The materials used to make crystals in this book are available from pharmacies. Most supermarkets also sell washing soda. Pharmacists may also suggest other materials that would make different shaped crystals and are safe to use.